Hello, you guys. Let's talk about Chapter 9, Lesson 1, Congruent and Similar Figures. So let's take a look at the vocabulary. The word congruent, okay? Congruent, the symbol looks like an equal sign with a wave over it. Congruent polygons means that they're exactly the same size and exactly the same shape. So there are two, for example, rectangles that are exactly the same size, exactly the same shape. Now, corresponding parts just mean they want you to match the sides and the angles on two different shapes. So you'll tell me which angles match and which sides match. And then similar, if they say similar, the symbol for similar is this wave, all right? And that just means that the shapes are the same, that the shapes have the same shape, but they are completely different sizes. So one looks like an enlargement of the other. All right, you guys, let's talk about example 1, naming corresponding parts. Now, I want you to look here where they gave us, this is called a congruent statement, where they said quadrilateral A, B, C, D is congruent to, that means exactly the same shape, exactly the same size as quadrilateral M, L, K, J, all right? And so we're going to use these letters in the exact order they gave us to help match up sides and angles. So let's talk about the angles first. Corresponding angles just means the angles that match. And I want you to notice, please write the congruent statement right here. A, B, C, D is congruent to M, L, K, J. And now use colors. Okay, let's use our red and see how A is the first letter and M is the first letter. That means that angle A right here is exactly the same as angle M, and that's what we wrote right there. Now grab your blue and underline the B and the L. See how they're the second letter? So that means angle B is exactly the same as angle L, and I wrote that right here. Now grab your green and underline C and K. That means that angle C matches with angle K. They're the same. And then use an orange and underline D and J. So that means angle D matches with angle J. All right. And now we can also match up the sides. Now it takes two letters to talk about a side. So use your red, and I want you to put a line above from A to B. So that would be from here to there. That matches with the first two letters M, L, from there to there. Okay, so line segment AB is congruent with line segment ML. And now let's do the next two letters, BC. That would match with the next two letters, LK. So B to C matches L to K. And now use your green and do the next two letters. CD matches KJ. And you can see that on the picture. CD matches KJ. And I wrote it right there. And now use your orange and watch. Go from the first letter to the last letter. So from A to D would match from M to J. So AD matches MJ. Okay, so look at example 2. They want us to use congruent polygons. So we know that triangle MNO is congruent to PQR. And so they want us to find the measure of angle P. So they want us to find this. I marked it in red. So since we know that M matches with P, look at, they're the first letters. Okay, so angle M matches with angle P. They have to have the same measures. So let's find angle M. And remember that all three angles of a triangle, no matter what shape, no matter what size, all three angles of a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. So we know that angle M plus angle N plus angle O has to be 180 degrees. And so angle M plus 55 plus 28 equals 180. Add 55 and 28, so angle M plus 83 equals 180. And then remember, we're trying to find M, so circle the variable, bring down the wall. Since we have to get rid of adding 83, we're going to subtract 83 on both sides. So we know angle M equals 97. And so since angle M equals 97, angle P has to equal 97 degrees. Okay, now for the guided practice, I'm still going to use this congruent statement that was up above, that triangle MNO is congruent to triangle PQR. So if they want us to find the length from Q to R, those are the last two letters. I know it has to match the length from N to O. And since I know from N to O is 7 inches, from Q to R has to be 7 inches. So you're just matching the sides. Now look at number 3. They want the measure of angle Q. Well, I know, see how Q's in the middle here? It matches up with N because that's in the middle. So since the measure of angle N has to be the same as the measure of angle Q, and they already told me that N was 28 degrees, that means Q has to be 28 degrees. And if they want me to find R, look at this. R is the last letter, so I know it matches up with the O. So if I'm trying to find R, I just look at what angle O is. Well, angle O is 55 degrees, so angle R has to be 55 degrees. Okay, take a look at similar polygons. And notice this. See this little wave right here? That means is similar to. So notice how these shapes are not exactly the same. When they're similar, that means they have the same shape, but they're different sizes. All right? So obviously triangle XYZ looks smaller than triangle ABC. Okay, so now they want us to match up the angles. Well, we're going to do the same thing. Write the congruent statement. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle XYZ. And notice how A matches with X, so the first letters. So tell me angle A is congruent to angle X. And then go to the second letters. B has to match Y. So angle B matches with angle Y. And then go to the last letters, C and Z. Angle C is congruent to angle Z. Now the reason these are congruent and not just similar is the angles have to be exactly the same. That's what makes the shapes the same, okay? Now, here's the other part of similar polygons. The angles have to be congruent and the sides have to be proportional. That means if we wrote them like a proportion, we would get the same fraction, okay? So we're going to set up fractions and we're going to see that when we reduce, they all reduce to be the same exact answer. So, take a look at what I did here. This really helped in pre-algebra when I did this. See how they gave us triangle ABC first? Write that on top. And see how they gave us triangle XYZ second? Put that on the bottom. And then match up sides. So see, AB are the first two letters, and XY are the first two letters. And so I know AB over XY has to be equal to, and now go to another side. BC, the last two letters, matches with YZ, the last two letters. And then we just plug in the numbers. So from A to B is 8, from X to Y is 4, so it's 8 over 4. Well, we know that has to be equal. B to C is 6, and Y to Z is 3. And we know 8 over 4 and 6 over 3 would both reduce to be 2 over 1. And then we could also go and go to the next pair. So let's say we said BC over YZ has to equal, and now go first to last, AC over first to last, XZ. And so that would give us 6 over 3 equals 10 over 5, and that would be 2 over 1. And then we could do first to last, AC over first to last, XZ, has to equal first 2, AB over first 2, XY. And so that 10 over 5 equals 8 over 4, which again would reduce to 2 over 1. So no matter which side you pair up, they're always going to be proportional. They're always going to reduce to be the same fraction. Okay, take a look here. They have two photographs, two pictures, have measurements as shown. Tell whether they are similar. So there's two things that have to happen. First of all, we look at the angles. And notice how all the angles match and they're all the same. So all the corresponding angles are congruent. They all measure to 90, so everything works. So the angles look good, but now you have to prove that the sides are proportional. That means when we set up these fractions, they're going to equal the same amount, okay? And so take a look here. They told us 18 inches over 6 inches. So they went, look at from H to G is 18 inches over from C to D, 6 inches. Does that equal, and then we started here, 12 inches from F to G over the 4 inches. And so, yes, of course, if we reduced 18 over 6 would give us 3 over 1, 12 over 4 would give us 3 over 1, so that works. And then, anyway, I think that works there, and I showed you, even if you would have gone the other way, 4 to 12, and then 6 to 18, you would still get 1 over 3 and 1 over 3. So no matter how you pair up the sides, we get the same exact fraction. So yes, these are proportional. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Example 4. They want us to look, they said in the diagram, triangle PQR is similar to triangle STU. And you can tell they're similar, same shape, different sizes. They want us to find the length from P to Q. So whenever they want me to find something, I make it red so it stands out, and that's my X. Put an X there. And now we're going to set up a proportion to solve that. So again, use the statement they gave you. So put triangle PQR on top and triangle STU on the bottom, and then set up your proportion. So I went from P to Q, the first 2 letters, over ST, the first 2 letters. Does that equal, and then I went to the next one, QR over TU. And so plug it in. From P to Q is X over, from S to T is 9 equals, and from Q to R was 9 over, from T to U was 6. And you can reduce 9 over 6, divide both by 3. So I got X over 9 equals 3 over 2. And then do the cross product. So start at the 9 and shoot the arrow across. 9 times 3 gives you 27. 2 times X gives you 2X. Bring that down. So it's 2X, bring down the equal sign, 27. And now circle your X, bring down the wall. The only way to get rid of multiplying by 2 is to divide both sides by 2. So then you'd get X equals 13.5 feet. Okay, and for the movie clue, I want you to put it on page 223. I want you to write the word quadrilateral, okay? Quadrilateral, that's the movie clue on page 223. All right, and now take a look at the guided practice. They want us to find X. And so right here, the X, I made it red, okay? So they want us to find from S to R. So notice how they gave us PQRS first. So I put that on top. WXYZ I put on the bottom. And then I went from P to Q over W to X. That's got to equal R to S over YZ. And so fill in the numbers. So from P to Q was 8 over WX was 4 equals RS, from R to S was X, over YZ was 7. And then I reduced 8 over 4. That became 2 over 1 equals X over 7. And then do the cross products. 1 times X gives you X. 7 times 2 gives you 14. So you just bring it down. 1X equals 14. So X equals 14. And don't forget to label it centimeters. Now, on the movie clue, I want you to circle the word quadrilateral in red.